Different ways in which we as humans really try to steer our own life. The first is fear, the second is control, and the third is obedience.
The topic is who's steering your life.
If you're trying to control something, then you're missing an opportunity for growth.
But in order to speed up, sometimes you have to slow down.
You can miss those blessings when you're trying to stay in control.
People are too busy knocking opportunity that they can't hear opportunity knocking.
Sit and reflect back on who is really steering your life.
Put your vehicle in gear and drive.
Some people are so afraid of actually succeeding, they don't know what that feels like.
Sometimes, it's like we look for the shortcut, but sometimes the shortcut is the long way.
The more that you let God have in your life, the more at peace you feel. Give your life over to Christ, follow Him, and allow Him to lead your life.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Crazy Unbelievable Faith. I am your co-host, Brian Owen, alongside my wife, Kersha.
Hi.
How are you doing this week?
Good. How are you?
It's been good. It's been a fast week. It was a short week, but very productive.
Yes.
I actually felt like I needed an extra day, but it's okay. You get it done. You get through it. So
Monday's tomorrow.
That's right. It's right around the corner. So if you are not already actively subscribed or following our podcast, we would love for you to do so. Whether you're watching this or listening to it, our community keeps growing. The responses that we get from people on a weekly basis. Obviously, the purpose of this podcast is to bring hope and encouragement to those in the community and communities around us. And again, if there is something that's impactful to you that comes up in today's conversation or past episodes you've heard, please feel free to share it. Like we encourage you. Like we want that message shared so it can be that ripple effect to help others in the community. So
yeah. Well,
so our topic today.
I was just going to say, do you want to?
I mean, I kept my glasses on.
Let him in on our little secret we've got going on?
I kept my glasses on today so I could read it as Kersha's been making fun of me prior to this. She goes, "Can you just take them off and just see it?" And yeah, I'd have to hold it way out there. So no. But the topic.
He needs a billboard behind.
It would be great. That'll be the viewers won't be able to see that because it'll be behind the camera, but that's fine. But the topic is who's steering your life. Yeah.
Well, we have narrowed down to 3 major topics of different ways in which we as humans really try to steer our own life. The first is fear, the second is control, and the third is obedience. And so we really want to take a moment here and digress each one of them, bring some examples, things that took place during each one of those, and really just let you in on what obedience really looks like when you really hand over the keys to God steering your life.
Yeah, this topic came this past week. I was reading out of a daily devotional from Bob Goff, and I was just sharing it with Kersha because there was just some really powerful pieces that came out of it, and it obviously fed into kind of who is in control of your life, and then not only who's in control of your life, but what does it do? What's kind of the ramifications or the ripple effect of that? And so hitting fear right up front, there are a lot of people that are driven by fear. And it's like, well, is it the fear of this or the fear of that? Is it a nightmare that drives them, things like that? But that can lead to detours in a person's life. Sometimes, it's like we look for the shortcut, but sometimes the shortcut is the long way. I've heard that said before. Right. But it'll lead to detours. It'll lead to distractions.
And dead ends.
Yeah.
Also, it could lead to frustrations. Yeah. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced a time where you feel like the wheels are turning, but the vehicle is not moving. Yeah. And you just feel like you've just made the same set of turns and it led you back to square one. There's countless times in my life where I could really go back and share multiple times in which we have just wound up frustrated.
I think one just popped into my mind just as you were talking about this.
Yeah.
Fear. Remember back in maybe 17 or 18 time frame, my job I was working said, hey, we want all of you to stay home the month of June. and we will call you and we'll let you know whether you still have a job or you don't have a job.
Actually, that was in 13. It was right
13.
after we brought
gosh.
Kinley home.
Well, whatever year it was, it's fine. Time flies, right? We'll go with that. But that is, that literally popped in my head as you were saying that, like of just how fear can drive not only businesses, but it can drive family. I mean, there are ramifications of all of that. But
Right.
I remember getting that call, and then it's like that gut-wrenching feeling of, oh my gosh, I got to go talk to you about this. And like, I could have a job, I could not have a job. And we become so dependent on the monetary side of our life that you're like, oh my gosh, like if I don't, all those things start rolling through your mind. And we, as humans, the fleshy side of us, we jump to the worst case scenario. At least I was guilty of that. I was the epitome as Kersha and I first got together.
Actually, if you, not to cut you off, but if you
did, but
really,
it's fine, no big deal.
If you
It's fine,
really
it's
go
fine.
back to that, we had actually had a conversation with Brian's parents of if he lost his job and we weren't able to find another one really quickly, would they be willing to allow us the opportunity to move in? And his mom said, we won't let you guys become homeless. And that
I think my dad thought about it for a minute. Of like, we have a house, it's quiet, and I'm kidding, totally kidding. No, but I think that fear component, and then there's obviously it can detour things in your life, but it derails some of that and it distracts it because all of a sudden I went from like, doing my daily routines and living our life to, man, what if? But we lived our life in the what if mode. It switched our brain.
And the year before, he was Pinnacle Award winner for top salesman of the year and hit 200% of quota. But they said what you did in the past doesn't matter. It didn't matter. Yeah. It's what you're doing right now. And if the company is reaping an income from you or not.
Yeah. Yeah. And
two things that come to mind, though, when you think of fear, and I know several people who have the fear of failing. They stay stagnant because their fear is they don't want to fail. But then they also have the fear of success. Some people are so afraid of actually succeeding, they don't know what that feels like. Maybe they weren't in sports in their childhood, and so they don't know what the feeling of winning really feels like and how to receive that without becoming egotistical over that. And so those are two things, they're polar opposites, right? Because if you're failing, you're not succeeding, and if you're succeeding, you're not failing. But sometimes people get caught in that continuum between the two as well. And I think it's so important for you guys to sit and reflect back on who is really steering your life and what is that emotion driver that is keeping you where you're at, keeping you from moving forward, keeping you from changing jobs or careers or a move across the country. What does that look like for you guys? And I just really want to challenge you to take a look at, to take some time to reflect on that and really look at, is fear really keeping you stagnant? Yeah.
I think we've also heard it said, is it the dream that drives you or the nightmare that drives you? And I think, that's, you just got to pick it. And you kind of have to just keep walking that out. You just, the obedience, not feeling like you're stuck in neutral.
Right.
Put your vehicle in gear and drive, I think is what we're getting at for sure. Now, the second topic around control.
Whew. This is a big one.
This is...
Who's controlling? I am.
Well, and we want to take the wheel. We want to take it. Our daughter's learning to drive right now. And, as your kids get a learner's permit, and it's like, I'm just, she's going to get more gray hair. I already have the gray, so it's totally fine. But it's one of those aspects. You want that steering wheel on your side also. Because it's like, man, I want to hit that pedal a little bit harder to brake, just because they're not braking quick enough. But we all have to learn.
Or you're like, brake. Okay, when I say brake, I mean like push on it.
From the back seat, mind you. So it's fine, because you're always like, don't be a backseat driver. Oh yeah, it's a backseat driver.
Well,
but around control though, forcing things to happen. And I think back to, again, kind of back into job piece for our family. But I had an opportunity to, there was a job change with the same company, a relocation out to Colorado. And for those that have listened or watched or have followed our podcast.
This guy was really excited about it.
Oh man, I was already skiing.
He loves the mountains.
I was already in Keystone skiing, or I was at, Vail or Breck. I was somewhere skiing already in my mind. And then
Not with his wife and daughters.
And then she was sitting in a hot tub was in her mind. But
I was pregnant.
But I was like, man, residence tags for elk season? Like, come on, talk to me. So I had already kind of positioned myself. Well, this was a point where we really weren't, we were in faith, but we weren't active with it, if that makes sense. Is that fair?
Yeah.
But we did have
Absolutely.
mentorship. We would seek perspective from people, family, and some friends that we had. We had some great mentors in our life that kind of brought our perspective to, okay, making a T-chart of pros and cons. And so we did. We sat in our living room, literally on a whiteboard, T-chart. And it was pros and cons
with the mentor.
Pros and cons to it. And, cost of living, blah, blah, blah. Well, we didn't have family out there. And we had 2 young kids.
And I was pregnant with a third.
Yeah, Faith was pregnant with Faith. And so it was just one of these, we weighed out these options. And the pros did not outweigh the cons.
Right. Well, and if you really think back to that time, I was pregnant with our third. Our second was in, we were knee deep in a medical journey with her, trying to help her as much as we possibly could.
Yeah.
But his mom was helping me at least 3 to 4 days a week so that I could go to these therapies or doctor's appointments for the second. So she was helping me with our oldest and but going to be helping me, obviously, when the baby came, because Faith was just on the horizon a few months away. When
you think of the support system that you have, and for those that are maybe listening or watching, those things come into account. I mean, it's I don't know how people do it when they move away from their family and your support system, and it's like, we're going to try this on our own, be the maverick, which is fine. And some people have done a great job and are very successful with it. We just knew, to us, it wasn't going to work.
It wasn't the season of life we could make it happen in.
Yeah, we wanted to. Trust me, I wanted to. I wanted the residence tags. I wanted to be able to hunt. I wanted to ski and all of that. But you fast forward through that of us trying to take control of that and us being obedient, and we stayed where we were in Kansas City, and the blessings that came from that. But about 6 months or so later, that position that was open was eliminated in my company. And so even though we weren't deep into our faith specifically at that time, we weren't praying together. We weren't praying daily by any means.
Right.
It was more of a okay, I need this. And that's where God was. I'm just being honest with you. That's where we were in our life. And it's kind of hard to think about that today. But the blessings on the backside of that if we had made that major shift of our family and the uprooting and the moving, we would have been out there with literally no job. And then you'd be coming back home, or, who knows what doors would have opened. But us taking that control, God's
could have
favor.
led to destruction.
Yeah. God's favor and grace was heavy on us through that. We didn't see it because we weren't looking for it, if that makes sense.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think out of that, us not looking for it,
you can miss those blessings when you're trying to stay in control of your life. Yeah. Time can get stolen from you even.
Yeah.
One thing that I've learned, I'm just a type A personality. And so I like to have things in control. But
I wish you could see her notes that she has.
I have
from a type A person.
I will share that.
Oh, look.
I'm not ashamed.
Okay.
It is very.
And then let's compare it. Keep yours. So if you're not viewing this is the problem.
Sorry.
But you can notice, there's a distinct difference between these two.
I have bullet 1, 2, and 3, and then the topics to talk about underneath.
I did 1 and 2, forgot 3. That's fine. It's okay.
That's why he has me, right? Because
right.
I won't lead him astray, I guess.
It's fine. It's okay.
So, but when you are just constantly in a reflection for myself, I know when I'm trying to control something, my knuckles are white and I'm putting every ounce of energy I have into making that happen. And I miss the blessing. I miss the praise. I miss the moment where I could encourage my child. And ultimately what I do is I teach my children that perfection is key rather than learning and growing. And obviously now I'm in a different stage of life where I can do some reflection and look back and say, you know, I don't want you to be perfect at this. I want you to learn from this. And what is it that we're learning? If we're not learning, we're not growing. And if you're trying to control something, then you're missing an opportunity for growth. And I don't want my children taking that mistake that I've made and forcing it into them because that's all they saw. And so I've really learned to let go. I've learned to let God lead, and I've learned that time restraints sometimes can be flexible.
Yeah, and those are just man-made parameters that we put sometimes.
Right.
You know, there's that plaque, isn't it? Let go and let God. You know what I just heard you say?
Yeah.
I've also heard a saying, actually from a mentor of ours, you know, enjoy the journey.
Oh, yeah. Find joy in the journey.
Find joy in the journey, sorry.
Sorry.
My apologies.
Not to correct you, but...
But I also feel, because I do love that tagline of, you know, and Kersha's like making bullet points of like, these things have to tie together. I just like phrases. It's the difference, type A versus a sanguine. But phrase to me is that people are too busy knocking opportunity that they can't hear opportunity knocking. And I think because they get so busy just head down into certain things. And I know the third point being obedience to that. And I think they kind of parallel to each other. Because in our obedience, we will hear those things. We will take the time to slow down and reflect. That was actually talked about today by our pastor at church. Sean hit that right on the head of like, you know, there are busy seasons. There are things that are pulling and requirements that we all are asked to do. But in order to speed up, sometimes you have to slow down.
Yeah.
And slowing down could be in your prayer time. It could be in your just, you know, round tables or community, you know, life groups, things like that. You were going to say something?
You've got to put the big things in first. One thing that I want to say is that when we're leading, when we're allowing obedience to lead our life, to steer our life, God is ultimately in control, which allows us to move forward courageously, even when the road looks uncertain. That is really important to know and to understand that obedience, when obedience and God both are steering your life, you're being led by purpose, you're being led by wisdom, and ultimately the emotion that we have inside of us is peace.
Yeah.
And that's so important for all of us, to find the peace in letting go and letting God take the wheel. You still have to get in and drive, steer the life, right? Like you still have to make decisions, but those decisions no longer fall just on your shoulders. You have somebody else in your corner saying, yes, this is the right decision.
Your will be done
on
earth as is in heaven, but it's your will. It's God's will.
His.
And we have to be obedient in that. We have to, again, put our vehicle in gear and start driving, and or we have to put one foot in front of the other and start walking. And sometimes it may be a crawl. I mean, there are maybe people listening or watching this that they are at a point where it's like, man, I can't walk yet. Okay, well then crawl. Or I can't even do that. Like, just reach out for a lifeline with someone. Because, you know, at the end of your obedience
Is somebody else's deliverance.
Boom. My one-liners. See, she likes those.
Yeah.
But the deliverance for someone that is maybe watching from an outside. I mean, we have people that talk to us and like, how do you guys, I had a friend come up at church. How do you juggle your job and your podcast and your family and all these things? And I honestly had to stop. I was like, I don't know. I just do. The capacity, the bandwidth, because in us saying yes to this, we know there's someone at the end of it that needs to just hear it, that needs that hope poured into them. They need that encouragement. And I feel like that's obviously a spiritual gift for me, for sure, is being out. I think for the two of us also, I don't want to speak for you, but I think that we both have that natural ability. You are much more succinct in hers, whereas mine's just kind of all over the board. That's fine.
Brian's a smorgasbord, and
right.
I am a straight line.
That's right.
It's
Tell them in these last few minutes how we first started praying, the comments you told me about the ways I pray versus the ways you pray.
Oh.
This is hilarious.
Brian prays. Okay, so Mexican is a weekly meal in this household. Yeah. Last week we had it twice. We had enchiladas on Tuesday on Monday, and then on Tuesday we went for Mexican.
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. But anyways, Brian likes to pray, give me discernment. I like Mexican, anything in it, okay? And I like to pray, I like a grilled cheese enchilada with a side of sour cream.
I don't really know if that's Mexican, but we'll go on.
I pray very drilled down and yes/no questions that then lead me.
And
he prays, God, give me the discernment for tomorrow.
Give me the wisdom, give me the discernment, give me the guidance. Mm-hmm. And there's
nothing wrong with either one.
And it's gotten better.
Right.
I would agree that it's like, I was very vanilla, very broad with it, and it's good.
And I was really drilled down, and we've kind of I've lifted how I pray, and he's drilled down how he prays.
Yeah.
And when we're praying together, of course.
Yeah, becoming more intentional, more specific with it. But again, back to kind of our obedience piece, I think, just that thought of his will. Is this my doing? Am I again trying to go back and take the steering wheel? Or am I truly hearing this in prayer? And when Sean said that today, it really stuck with me that it's like, I have all these things that I have to do, but if I'm not making the time for God, then it's, am I trying to make things happen in my own will, in my own power?
Is it falling into the control bucket?
Yeah. And I think it's a very slippery slope that we have to be mindful of.
One thing before we close, go into our closing, I want to ask you a question. Can you give them a time, since we talked about a job situation for fear and a job situation for control, can you share with them a job situation for what obedience looks like, and when you're being obedient, how God can really fall into play?
Yeah. So through our podcasts, through this podcast, and the networks of people that we've been introduced to, we've hosted on our podcast, and then hey, you need to meet this person, which then turns to this, and it's just that domino effect of that. And it has opened doors up to where I'm able to take my gifts, my talents, my skills that I've learned and honed over these years that God has allowed me to do, to then help other businesses or business owners that are just saying, hey, I'm trying to start this, or I'm trying to get legs under this. I want to pick your brain. I want to, I want to just, converse and figure out what is it that that I should be doing, or how can I, speed this area up. And so that obedience for us this podcast, but what's come from that, and then the doors that are still opening from that. We've been invited to different things. You were invited to. By the way, those that are watching, the lady to my side even beat me. She was invited to be on a podcast this past week, which I don't know when it airs, but she got interviewed for. I was jealous. We were laying in bed that night. I'm like, man, babe, like no one's interviewed me.
And actually, it's an old coworker of his and friend. She hosts the Writers Doubt Club.
Shout out to
podcast.
Rhea. Yeah.
Shout out to Rhea and Tierney and Susan.
Yeah.
They are all the hosts of the Writers Doubt Club, and they were so generous in allowing me to come on and share part of my journey of what it really looks like to write and the doubt that you have to go through when you are becoming an author.
But I think that, you flipped the question to me, but it's really mutual, because both of us have through the obedience of this podcast, what God has opened up through that.
Yeah, and that's just these are just a couple of examples.
Oh yeah, and
what
these,
this looks like.
Even when you think about who's steering your life, the 3 examples we pulled out today, there are many more.
Oh yeah,
this is like the tip of the iceberg that we're scratching here.
But we wanted to give you some food for thought.
Yeah.
You could be having fear in getting married. You could have fear in moving. You could have fear in going to college. You could have fear in every area of your life. You could have control in every area of your life. Or you could have obedience in all of it. Yeah. And God will bless the obedience, for sure. His grace will help you overcome the fear and the control. Yeah. And His mercy will lead you to doing it through obedience. But ultimately, it's your decision. And I will challenge you, give your life over to Christ, follow Him, and allow Him to lead your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think of the Carrie Underwood song. It just pops in my head, Jesus, take the wheel. Like literally that pops in my head as she's saying all that.
Maybe we should have had those lyrics in here.
Maybe royalties. No, we're not going to do that. Not going down that road, okay? But yes, do love Carrie's music. But you had a closing nugget that you wanted, wasn't it? You had, or was it a phrase? Something?
No.
I thought it was. Oh, maybe not. Okay, well, maybe not. But again, I think just for us, the obedience in this podcast, we at the beginning, I know you wrestled with it more than I did of like, am I going to say the right thing? That's very the type A personality versus me. I'm just kind of like, we'll just go with this. Like, it's fine. And if it fails, it fails. Like, I don't know. I've just kind of moved on from all that. But I think that there are people out there, like you said, be it a move, a job change, are we going to have a family, start a family, not have a family? Just your kids riding their bikes. Oh my gosh, like I don't want them to crash. Like it could be little things.
Right. Right.
And it could also be very large things as our oldest is starting to drive too.
Well, I will close in this. The fear of failing is something that I struggle with. I don't like the feeling of failing, of not making it. And Brian doesn't have that. And in his openness and his honesty and his, I'm just going for it, he kind of can drag me along. And I'm so thankful for your ability to do that. We have had several friends come to us and say, look at you guys just are going for it. And I'm like, oh, no, he's going for it. I'm just getting dragged into it.
I don't always feel that way. But,
but that's the way that it maybe might appear. But I want you guys all to know we all struggle with fear. I don't want any of our listeners or anybody in the community to think that we don't struggle with that, because we absolutely do. We absolutely still struggle with control. But it's learning to let God do way more. And the more that you let God have in your life, the more at peace you feel.
Yeah. And I thank you for that. About me dragging you along. That's great. Like, I feel like Barney, or something like, oh, I'm just going to drag Wilma with me, but that's fine. Again, that's just, I'm allowing you some access to my mind and what happens. But no.
Wilma!
Yeah. But I again, back to that, like, honestly, the control aspect, the steering your life, like, just if you're looking for, I need help with something, plug into a local church. Google a church in your area.
Reach out to us. We'd love to help and pray for you.
And even if you're not in the Kansas City area, like, we have people all over the United States that we know, not globally, honestly, but it's like, hey, I need help. We'll connect you to someone. And if worst case, we're praying for you. So again,
worst case, I don't know. A prayer is best case.
Best case, we're praying for you. Worst case is we can't get you connected somewhere. Maybe that's it. Is that a better one? I don't know. We can get you
what?
Connected.
There's not a worse or a best case.
Not really. Just scratch that. Maybe we'll have an edit this. That's fine. But anything else for you in closing? Okay. We're going to end this. But no, I thank you so much. Thank you for joining and listening and watching today for another episode of Crazy Unbelievable Faith. Until next time, be safe, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.